What's up, Vikings Nation? Now, we all know this is the time where rumors are flying around because literally nothing is happening in the National Football League. No signings, no nothing. Okay, all you're hearing is the bad stuff and like what people are doing off the field and have their issues and stuff. But I was scrolling through the internet, okay, and found a rumor that could happen. Sounds like it could happen. And I'd be interested to see if it does happen because, look, we do need one piece, that piece being another running back, even though we do have, a couple in the bag behind Alexander Mattison, obviously Kene Nwangwu, Ty Chandler, and McBride, obviously. But at the same time, we need somebody who can complement Mattison a little bit better than those other running backs may be able to do. And Kene Nwangwu, obviously being a kick and punt returner, that is probably where he's going to stay, even though I think he has the chance to, take some snaps at the running back position. But I think the Vikings need to look at signing another running back. We talked about Kareem Hunt earlier this week. We have another one. This comes from Clutch Points that I just kind of seen scrolling the internet, seeing what to dive into, and it's very, very interesting. All right, now the Vikings have showed that they trust Mattison enough to name him the starter. Despite the fact that Cook recorded 4 consecutive 1,000-yard rushing seasons, earned Pro Bowl spots each time, Cook's efficiency dropped each of the last 2 years, though the Florida State product still averaged a respectable 4.4 yards per carry in 2022. Now, the running back will be 28 years old by the time the 2023 NFL season begins, the same age as fellow discarded running back Ezekiel Elliott. Now, as many teams will feel that after 6 NFL campaigns, he is worn out and past his prime. The free agent market is still plentiful with veteran running backs who may or may not have some life left in their legs, Elliott included. Now, I haven't really been an Ezekiel Elliott fan at all, but it was mainly just the fact that, hey, he's not a starter, okay? His production for the Dallas Cowboys kept dropping year after year after year. I think at this point in his career, he'd be a perfect backup running back, maybe a starter in some cases, depending on the scheme and what the game plan and stuff like that is. But look, the Vikings' one perfect move to fill out the roster before training camp would be to sign free agent running back Ezekiel Elliott. You guys can, hate this. You guys can like this. This is just a rumor. This isn't for sure, but this is just some speculation, and we have to look at it seriously because we need another running back to pair with Alexander Mattison if the other ones behind him, Ty Chandler, Kene Nwangwu, and McBride, they don't pan out. We need somebody that's been there, done that, who has shown that he can produce at a high rate or can produce somewhat in the rushing game and in the passing game, and I think Ezekiel Elliott could be one of those guys. Now, the Vikings, I wouldn't say are in a desperate need, but this is what that article said, of a complementary back, or at very least, a backup. That's kind of what I'm thinking, right? We need a backup running back, someone that can go in there and give Mattison a couple breaks from time to time, or with proven NFL experience, right? We need that. We need some veterans in that room to kind of help mold the roster, help the game plan, and help us succeed, basically, right? Now, the free agent market actually has a strong sampling of household names still available, including Leonard Fournette, who's still a free agent. He might be a little spendy. We've talked about Kareem Hunt and Mark Ingram. Now, Mark Ingram, this says Mark Ingram and Leonard Fournette are bruisers, but both clearly past their primes. Look, Mark Ingram definitely past his prime. I'm not so sure Leonard Fournette is past his prime. You give him a decent offensive line and you tell him to run up the middle, he's going to get you 4 yards every single time. That was said by A.Q. Shipley on the Pat McAfee show, who played with Leonard Fournette, has coached Leonard Fournette, so he knows what he's about. I don't think Leonard Fournette's quite past his prime. He's just, getting up there in, salary cap wise. He's getting a little spendy, I would say. But you might want to look at adding one of these guys to Minnesota's roster, but maybe not Leonard Fournette, maybe not Mark Ingram. Kareem Hunt would be a good one. Ezekiel Elliott would also be. Now, Hunt is an intriguing option, but he offers a similar skill set to Mattison, which would not make sense for a backfield duo. Again, doesn't make sense. Okay, Dalvin Cook, Alexander Mattison, both very similar running styles. We've seen how well that worked for us the past couple of years. I liked it, and yes, I understand you might need a little bit of a difference there between the two. You need a bruiser, you need a guy who's kind of elusive, guy who can catch passes and stuff like that. It really doesn't matter. As long as you got a good 1-2 punch in the backfield, I think you're A-okay. But you got to kind of move forward, and that's why they said Ezekiel Elliott might be that perfect complementary back to Alexander Mattison. The best fit for the Vikings, per this article, is former Dallas Cowboys back Ezekiel Elliott. Now, Elliott has 600 more career carries than Dalvin Cook, and somewhat of where showed over the last few seasons, but he was an adept receiver and efficient runner before converting to more of a short yardage power back in 2022. Obviously, get some money, start gaining some weight. It's all right. All right. He's just a power back now. That's all. That's what you got to do. Now, playing alongside Madison as a secondary option or even a secondary primary runner will improve Elliott's efficiency and help the Vikings get the most out of the veteran back. I completely agree with that statement. You give him some rest. Hey, you make him realize that, hey, you're not the starter. Okay, you're the backup. You go in there, you do your job, you come back out and let the starter go out there and kind of finish it off and stuff like that. So I like that. I think it would help Elliott, his confidence, maybe earn another contract down the line, maybe earn another starting position down the line for some other team. I'm not really sure, but I do agree with that. Money was the reason that the Vikings released Dalvin Cook, okay? And with Elliott on the free agent market at this point in the summer, his value will continue to drop the longer he stays unsigned. That goes for every running back, every person that is a free agent right now. Their stock starts to drop because teams are realizing we don't need you, okay? We want you, but we don't need you type of thing, right? So at a discounted price, Ezekiel Elliott is an ideal addition for the Minnesota Vikings, and obviously you're not going to get, $10 million deal for Ezekiel Elliott. It's going to have to be somewhere within, the maybe 1 year, $5 million, and he can earn more in incentives or something like that. A cheap contract for one season to come in, kind of do his thing, rejuvenate his career, hopefully, and help our Minnesota Vikings finally get to a Super Bowl, but not only get there, win the Super Bowl. We've been itching for that in Minnesota. I think Ezekiel Elliott would be a great fit here. But I guess only time will tell. I like Kareem Hunt and his possibility of being a Minnesota Viking. I like Ezekiel Elliott and his possibility of being a Viking. Don't see Leonard Fournette coming over here. Mark Ingram, I could potentially see because he'd be way cheaper than those three. But hey, I think Ezekiel Elliott would fit really, really nicely over here in Minnesota. But it's up to him to make that decision, and up for the Vikings or up to the Vikings to reach out and maybe give him an offer and stuff like that. You guys can let me know in the comments what you think about Ezekiel Elliott potentially joining the Vikings. Also, drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It would be much, much appreciated. Have a great rest of your day, folks, and Skol Vikes.